Hello everyone. We are from group 1 will present about a short story. But before that, let me introduce our group. My name is Nikada Sasmita as the first speaker.
And my name is Komang Stuti as the second speaker.
My name is Gustiasa Fitriningrum as the third speaker.
Okay, next slide please. So now I will as the first speaker, I will explain a little bit about this story. So this short story is the title is A Wagner Matinee, who is written by next Willa Keter in 1906. So this story is first time is published in Everybody magazine. Okay, next. The story have four main character. The first is Clark as the main role, as well as the story narrator or the story writer, and the second is Georgiana Carpenter as Clark auntie, and the third is Howard Carpenter as Clark uncle, as well as Georgiana husband, and the last character is Mrs. Springers, who get a little bit part as the landlady in boarding house when Clark stay. Next, please. So the next point is to take place. The story take them in two main place. Namely, the first is in Boston. Boston is the place where Clark lives, and the second one is Nebraska. Nebraska is the place where Clark auntie and uncle lives after they get married. So the next part is plot. Who will be present is Komaria Widyastuti, and Ria. Time is yours.
All right, thank you, Sasmita. So here I will telling about this story a little bit. Okay. In the morning, Clark received a letter from his uncle saying that his aunt, Georgiana, was coming to Boston to continue taking care of the estate, and Clark was asked to pick her up at the station. The next morning, Clark picks up her aunt and takes Georgiana to Clark's boarding house. Georgiana was a music teacher. When Georgiana was visiting the Green Mountain, she met Howard Carpenter and started a relationship. Howard also followed her when Georgiana returned to Boston. That's where Howard and Georgiana eloped and went to Nebraska. When he saw his aunt, Clark's memory appeared about aunt's kindness. When his aunt used to accompany Clark to study at late night, his aunt would wake up Clark, who would have fallen asleep while studying. Clark to study Georgiana often teaches Clark for assignment, but she never talk about music. And one day, Clark tried a piece of music, but because it was difficult for Clark, he began to get angry. That's when Georgiana came and hugged Clark and saying, "Don't love it so well, Clark, or it may be taken from you." And in the next part, Clark auntie was confused when she arrived at Paris. She says that a lot has changed from when she was there when she was single. Then this Clark wanted to invite Georgiana to visit the con- conser- conservatory and the common before lunch, but the Georgiana looked embarrassed and wanted to be invited out of the crack. And arriving at the place of the show, Georgiana is still rich in confusion. So look around her like not passive and keep walking slowly, just like confusion. At the opening of Tannhäuser, just as the horn gave of the first straight of the pilgrim choir, and Georgiana grabbed the sleeve of Clark's coat. Then Miss Clark realized for the first time that this broke the silence of 3 years and unimaginable flame. I think that's all that I will say about this story. And the next, I will telling with Ningrum. And Ningrum, the time is yours.
All right, thank you, Ria. Now I want to continue to explain about the story A Wagner Matinee. Clark suspects that his current aunt is no longer careful because of the incident in her past life. To cheer up his aunt, Clark took her aunt somewhere, namely to the symphony of Richard Wagner's song. When he got there, Clark noticed his aunt, who looked at every corner of the room. His aunt was dressed so simple that it shed tears when she heard the melody in the orchestra. Clark noticed her aunt's finger, which seemed to dance when she listened to the melody. When the performance was over, everyone walked out one by one from the room. But his aunt cried and begged Clark because she didn't want to leave the place, as if she wanted to continue listening to music and seeing musical instruments. Because the atmosphere of the concert hall reminded her of when she was a teenager. I think that's all a summary of the short story A Wagner Matinee. Now I want to explain the question. We have 10 questions, uh, and the first one is about understanding the plot, such as what made Clark know that it was his uncle who sent the letter. From the second one is what was on Georgiana's job first? And the third one is what is the reason for Aunt Clark coming to Boston? And then where does Clark want to take his aunt to visit? And then what is the reason why Clark's aunt is confused when they reach Paris? Next, what kind of memories made Clark think that his aunt was kindness? For the last but not least, why did Aunt Georgiana move to Nebraska? For the thinking about the plot, the first one is how do you describe Aunt Georgiana in A Wagner Matinee? And then in the story, which sentence is included in the personification figure? And then I don't want to go, Clark. I don't want to go. Based on the sentence expressed, what indirect meaning does the utterance contains? I think that's all about our presentation. Thank you.